Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we have a new format for you where it's a scramble with me and my friend Paul, but because Paul's got a higher handicap than me, we have to make sure we take at least one shot of his every single hole, and that doesn't include a tap-in putt. Now, with Paul's nerves shot to pieces over years of hurt, making him go first, but goodness gracious, he somehow managed to toppy hook that out of bounds onto the practice range, which I didn't really think was possible. So pretty much have to take this so long as it stays in play, which it is, thankfully. So that's not a great start. Best thing we can really hope for is for what the hell is going on here. Paul went to look for his ball and found all of those in the rough, if you can believe it. So he's not the only one. So after my tee shot then, could do with a good one from Paul here. And not too bad, but it's just short of the green, so probably an opportunity here for me to do a little bit better. It's only about 70 yards. And, I mean, I've not done much better, but we are substantially closer and on the green. So I'm going first on the putt, just to give Paul a line, but we can't take it. And that wasn't great, let's be honest. About as good as the weather, which in England at the moment has been Chateauneuf-du-Pape recently, and so is that putt. I really do hope everyone's enjoying the videos. If you do, please don't forget to hit the like button and consider subscribing, and if you're not enjoying the video, put a dislike and tell me why. I'd love to hear your feedback and I'd love to improve. Paul has thinned his tee shot, although it was a 3-iron and it's gone quite a long way actually because it is downhill. And this is just a 4-iron from me, and that's quite a nice little roping draw. So unfortunately, I did have about 100 yards on Paul off the tee, maybe a bit less, so I've had to take mine again. So, like I said, could really do with hello. That was a bit fat from Paul, but it might have made it down there. It wasn't quite the ball flight he was looking for. This is a gap wedge from about 110 yards, and I've flared that a bit right. And fortunately, we've taken Paul's. It's not the easiest putt, it's downhill and sliding left to right from where we're stood. This is a lovely putt, get in. How was that missed? Well, I saw that, maybe I can improve. But alas no, as usual my putting has let me down and I've blazed it off the planet. So we were looking for +4. Not +4, 4 under par, and we're level after 2, which isn't terrible, but that is, I'm afraid. We've not had one single shot tracer from Paul yet, which is not great, considering I could really do with him hitting a good tee shot, and then we can take that. So 3 wood for me then. Got to get this in play, otherwise we're probably not making birdie on this hole. And I've missed that a little bit right, and we've ended up with a bit of tree bother. The green is pretty much just behind this tree on the right hand side as you look at it, but there is a line through it, and we finally got a shot tracer and my face, and it's very windy and I'm sorry, the stand keeps falling over. My turn then. Paul's just short left, but not too bad, although we could do with getting on the green really, but I don't think that's going to manage it as well because that's going right. I've somehow managed to overcut it. So we've taken Paul's simply by virtue of neither of them are that hard a chip, but none of them are that easy either. But we've got options now. And Paul's not done a bad job with that. Can't even see Beamsley Beacon in the distance because of the horrendous clouds and rain. Paul's gone a bit far, and in typical fashion I've not hit mine hard enough, and that's a treacherous putt, so we're actually taking Paul's. And this is for par now, so our 4 under par attempt is waning substantially. Paul's missed. Can I hole mine? Of course not. I've left it in the jaws of misery and despair. So that is in fact a scramble bogey, if you can believe it. And now we've got Paul. Can he finally get one off the tee? No. And a resounding one at that. That's a snap hook into the trees. Although I'm not even sure I can get to the green with driver here. It's only about a 250 yard carry, but the wind is straight into our faces, and I've missed that about 50,000 miles right, and it's gone 190 yards to put it bluntly. So we've taken that one, what can Paul do? Shot tracer's nice to see. It's on a nice line, but his expression tells you all you need to know, and he's chunked it. So Paul's not on the green here. I've got 80 yards in, and I've hit a nice one. Wind just didn't quite bring it as much as we'd like, but we have to take Paul's putt here, as I'm getting attacked by Gandalf the cat whilst recording. Giving Paul a line there. A little bit of left to right from where we're stood, and Paul started it on the right line, but again has forgotten about the line. Well, he's not forgotten about the line, he got the line, but not the distance, and left it short. Downhill par 3 then. About 175 yards, but plays downhill about 20, and that's just a little left of target, but it might have crept onto the green. Can I do something a little better? Again, if I get this on the green, we probably have to take it, and then yet again, Paul has to take the putt, so that does make this hard. And like I said then, mine was by far the better shot here, and we have to take Paul's putt. And I've done a job of leaving it short as well. Any note to anybody that's watching these videos planning on playing a scramble, stop leaving your putts short.
Go.
Never mind, that's also in the jaws. What are we doing? Having problems and getting annoyed. Right, on to the 6th then. We're still at +1, no birdies on the card, and Paul's hit a stinger, which worked out nicely, and that just means I might as well have a pop, because Paul's in a good position. So the only reason we take this is if it's pretty much on the green. And so I basically have to take it over those left-hand trees because I can't hit a draw with the driver, especially with this wind. And this is where it ended up. We couldn't really take Paul's because with the wet weather it literally went nowhere. And you can see, although it's a little bit blurry zooming in there, the wind and the rain is whipping from left to right, and Paul's just managed to put it onto the fringe grass, so not bad. I've started this a little bit further left, and yeah, not really much to be said here. And Paul is so confident that he said, I don't even need you for a line here, it's just a left edge putt. But it's not, and that's another par, and our minds are boggled. So we're back to me going first this time, which is slightly unusual. Normally see Paul going first on these scramble videos, and that's just a 4-iron for position, and that opens the door for Paul to go a little bit wild with the driver. And wild it is, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a shot tracer on it this time, but that's probably a lost ball. And we've had to take mine from the fairway. And because of the strong wind into our faces here, we're still quite a way away. And that's not good. Paul's wittering on about some sort of excuse, but quite honestly, it's not easy. The rain is quite heavy now, and this is a 7-iron from 155 yards. Simply because the wind is so strong. It's a good club wind, if not 2. And even I've not hit a great shot there, but it's pin high and right. So we've taken that. So realistically, not sure what we're supposed to do here, but ideally take this chip from Paul. And that is very, very good considering, and this chip is essentially pointless because even if it goes in we can't take it, but that's got no chance. So fortunately we might end up scrambling a par, and we do. Excellent, although yet still no birdies on the card, and we're struggling, and we're nowhere near making it under par, let alone 4 under. That's a good shot from Paul. Iron down the fairway, and we're basically drowning at this stage. What on earth are we doing? Get me to the Algarve immediately. I'm hitting driver then, simply because Paul's in perfect position, but that won't be. I've bashed that straight towards the bushes, didn't strike it too well, and I've probably lost my ball, or I'll pick it up on the 9th. Paul then from his tee shot, right to left wind is just helping that ball, but it's still going to be short right, and I think it's actually gone splash in the pond. That's unfortunate. My turn then. Can I deliver? Lovely ball flight with the old pitching wedge, and it's on a sublime line, but it's a bit long. But it's on the green. Can't really complain too much about that, and we've both got an opportunity here to make our first birdie, but that's not the best read. But it's safely in for par, so now here's my opportunity to bash one home, and we all know my putting is fairly weak, but that's not a bad putt from there. So on to the last hole, and we'll swim our way up here. This is a par 3 of about 150 yards, playing slightly uphill. And Paul's struck it nicely, but it's just a bit short right, so probably not ideal, just short of the green. So can I stick one close? Quite honestly, unless I stick this very tight, you'd probably be better off trying to chip in with 2 opportunities. And that's what we'll do here then. So 2 opportunities to get us back to level. I hope you've been enjoying the content. There's more to come, loads to come. Paul's left it short. What a surprise, we've both been doing that, but the green is very spongy. Can I finally get us back to level and save grace? No. Par, 1 over. Sorry, bye.